Hey everyone, welcome to Broadband Deployment News. The Treasury Department is awarding almost $800 million to 4 states from ARPA, from the Capital Projects Fund. Be right back. Thanks for joining me. Rick Uzzi here with Broadband Deployment News. So I saw this a few weeks ago and I hadn't had a chance to cover it, but this is pretty significant, as I've been talking about, as we see lots of federal dollars that are being awarded that are going to be put to work well before any money comes out of the BEAD program. And this is a huge amount of money that we're talking about here, and just that has been awarded through ARPA. So ARPA is it's the American Rescue Plan Act, and there's the Capital Projects Fund, and there's the Fiscal Recovery Fund. This is all out of the Capital Projects Fund here for 4 different states. So I was going to look at this real quick. So you see here, Treasury announces 4 additional Capital Projects Fund awards to increase access to affordable high-speed internet. Then it's got the states here. The U.S. Department of Treasury announced the approval of broadband projects in 4 additional states under ARPA. And that would be Alabama, Kentucky, Nevada, and Texas. Together, these states will use their funding to connect over 292,000 homes and businesses to affordable high-speed internet. The Capital Projects Fund provides $10 billion to states, territories, freely associated states, and tribal governments. Most of that's going to the states. I think the tribal governments and if I remember, the territories get maybe $100 million, and then out of that, most everything else goes to the states out of that $10 billion. And that's to fund. So you see here, fund critical capital projects that enable work, education, and health monitoring in response to the public health emergency. So this was all, again, out of the American Rescue Plan Act that was part of the coronavirus package that was passed. So this money is still being allocated and put to use for broadband, and that's where most of it's going at this point, because really the health emergency is over, although we still need, if people want to do telehealth, those kinds of things, they need broadband. So this is going towards that for maybe future issues. In addition to the $10 billion provided by the CPF, many governments are using a portion of their state and local fiscal recovery funds, or the SLFRF, and that particular fund has $350 billion in it. So we talk about how much $65 billion is, and specifically $42.45 billion in BEAD. Well, $350 billion in ARPA. Now, not all of that was said to be for broadband, but most states, when they're getting those funds, they probably used some of it earlier on, but states now are using, or that have used those funds have been really applying that for broadband. At least that's what I've been seeing. Now, maybe I don't see all the announcements about other stuff they're using it for, but a lot of that money is going towards broadband. So again, this is just another reason why I feel like we are going to have enough money to make sure that all unserved and even underserved locations are covered by broadband that's over the 100 by 20 limit, and most of it's going to be fiber, so it's going to easily be able to exceed the 100 by 20 or even 100 by 100 limits there once they get fiber going in most of these areas. So I think we'll see that the BEAD funding will go a lot further. It won't really go any further, but there'll be fewer locations that have to be served, because there'll be locations like these that are going to be served through this other federal funding. Each state's plan requires service providers to participate in the FCC's ACP, the Affordable Connectivity Program. That's where you can get a $40 subsidy if you're a customer and you qualify for it. You can get $40 or $75 if you're on tribal lands, and if your internet service provider in your area is participating in that. And there's usually an ISP in every area that's participating. I think it's good for them because they get customers and they get the subsidy. So the customer doesn't have to pay the ISP. If it's, for example, a $30 package, then the ISP can get the subsidy, and it's basically a free internet account, or $75 in tribal lands. Or if it's a $50 package, they pay $20 and the ISP gets the $30 from the government. Experts estimate that nearly 40% of U.S. households are eligible for the program. Now, the last time I looked at this a while back, and I forget, it was like, I think it might have been 15 to 17 million that have signed up for this, and the FCC's out there promoting it. They've got grants for organizations to promote it, to go out and promote and advertise the fact that the ACP is there, and they've got a pilot program to help get people signed up for this. So that's all good, except there's no provision for extending this at this point. There was, I think it was $14 billion in the program. if you've got 15, 17, however many million people in it, and you're talking about $30 to $75 a month, then we were looking at, I think it was mid-2024 when those funds are going to run out. So they need to do something about that program. As far as this funding here, it says, in addition, Treasury guidance requires recipients to consider whether federally funded networks will be affordable to the target markets in their service areas, and encourages them to require that a federally funded project offer at least one low-cost option at speeds that are sufficient for a household with multiple users. That could be offering, a $30 package for, a broadband service that could support, let's say, multiple Zoom calls or streaming, those kinds of things. If you've got multiple people in the household. Could be $50, could be $30, but there's no stipulation as to what affordable is or what a low-cost option is. To date, 30 states have been approved to invest approximately $4.5 billion of capital projects funding, which those states estimate will reach 1.2 million locations. So again, that's money that's being put to use right now to close some of the digital divide. Then it's got information on the specific states here. Each one of these is a link if you want to get little fact sheet, but most of the information is in here. Now, I noticed that the link for Texas down here is wrong. It actually links you to Nevada's fact sheet, but they also have the PDFs up here, and this one is correct. So if you go up there and click on Texas, you'll get the fact sheet. But again, most of the information is listed here. So you've got for Alabama 191.9 million for 55,000 households and businesses, and I calculated that out. That comes to about $3,473 per location to deploy last mile infrastructure projects in rural areas of the state, and that is 100% of their capital project funds right there that Alabama is supposed to get. And it noted in that fact sheet, the only additional information I saw was that it says that the Alabama estimates that's going to cover 9% of the unserved locations in Alabama. Then you've got Kentucky, 182.8 million, 45,000 households and businesses, and that came to $4,062 per location if you divide that out. Designed to provide affordable, reliable broadband service to locations that currently have no internet service, followed by areas that currently lack access to internet speeds of 25 by 3. So they're looking at the zero served, not just they're calling unserved people that have no access. So I don't know if that means they literally have no broadband access. So maybe they don't even have DSL. They have dial-up. So I don't know what that means, because generally unserved is anything under than 25 by 3. So, but they're going to focus on those areas that I guess have nothing. That's good to start with, I guess. And then they go to the places that are under 25 by 3. That represents 100% of the state's total allocation. And on their little fact sheet that said was about 16% of the remaining unserved locations. Nevada, 55.2 million. That's 40,000 households and businesses, and that comes to $1,380 per location. And that's to fund broadband infrastructure to and within low-income housing to upgrade access to MDUs. That may be why it's a little less per location, $1,380, because these would be areas where you've got, I would think, in more populated areas, but you've got low-income housing. So you've got one location, in a sense, you need to serve with multiple units. So you've got more people together. It's like you don't have people all scattered out. So that would be why that would be less per location. That represents 41% of the state's total allocation. Nevada submitted plans for the remainder of their CPF funds, and these applications are currently under review by Treasury. In their case in Nevada, they also said that was 16% of the remaining locations for them. So Texas, 363.8 million, 152,000 households and businesses. That's to fund last mile broadband infrastructure projects that will prioritize projects similar to serve historically socioeconomically disadvantaged areas and other affordable service options and digital literacy support. So for Texas, that turned out to be $2,393, and they said that was going to be about 5% of the remaining locations in the state. So that is for Texas. So again, it says here 73% of the state's allocation. Texas submitted plans for the remainder of their CPF funds, and these applications are currently under review by Treasury. So they also have some additional funds that are coming. So anyway, again, this is good news that we're seeing some additional funding coming through ARPA, and there's more to come. So each dollar that we are able to provide that is not going to be BEAD money, this is going to make the BEAD money go further. As I said, there'll be fewer locations that the BEAD money is going to have to cover. So that's good news. So thanks for joining me today for Broadband Deployment News. I will be back tomorrow at some point during the day. If you are not subscribed, go ahead and click the little subscribe button on YouTube. Click the bell to be notified. And if you liked the video, go ahead and click the like button, the thumbs up. Thanks a lot. See you later. Bye-bye.